Homemade suits, one of my favorite things to see in a telling of a superhero story. When a hero, or villain sometimes, first enters their crime fighting and or crime committing life, they make a suit to hide their identity, but to also build an identity for their powerful counterpart. The most iconic suits of the genre would come from Spider-Man. I'll run you through a few of them. The Raimi one does go hard as it follows Peter's origins of being a wrestler for money after getting his powers. You see it in the first Raimi Spider-Man film, and it kind of is a combination of like a red sweater with a red ski mask, and I would say that it was pretty effective at hiding his identity. His eyes were still, visible. As for Andrew Garfield's one, I never really liked it because it was literally just casual clothes. He is just wearing a red mask with glasses. You could also argue that this is technically his homemade suit, as it was his first suit that he wore before he wore his more iconic, more accurate suit. But I feel like this one was intended as his like superhero suit that Sony made up. That was like, oh, it's a cool, edgy version of Spider-Man. I didn't like that one as much either. But his homemade suit would protect him as long as he never wore those same casual clothes out and about. But it's horrendous looking. As for the MCU one, I do like most of it. I would like it better if it didn't have circular binocular eyes. It does feel buggy, which I guess makes sense for Spider-Man, but he's not a bug. He's an arachnid. They feel chunky and, oddly shaped for a Spider-Man suit. Canonically, Peter doesn't even have to worry too much about his vision, although I guess for this one he doesn't really unlock that ability till later. But, his spider sense can do more of the heavy lifting for sight for him. But yeah, it's just, I just don't like the eyes. There's also other homemade suits. I would go over through all the cartoon ones, but the only one I can think of that was from the cartoons off the top of my head is the more recent one, which is meant to be like an alternate universe of MCU Peter Parker, and it does look good. It looks great. I'm a little iffy on the jersey, but it still looks great. Of course, Peter isn't the only one with a homemade suit. Smallville Superman and every other superhero in that series had a few homemade costumes in it due to the, no costume rule that the series had when they were producing it. Invincible had Mark wear some clothes that came in colors that I don't think you would ever find on shelves and is the most horrific looking color match I have ever seen. I'm so glad that he got a professional to make his suit. But, he had a bandana with goggles. It's horrible. And technically Midoriya's original hero suit in My Hero Academia was homemade, but it was by his mother, as I assume Midoriya doesn't know how to sew. Its look being inspired by All Might, and its design being used to produce his official superhero suit by the school. Now this one, I was a bit iffy on classifying it as a homemade suit, as it was still more professional and was more intended to be, like, properly used in the field. It's just that it didn't get to because it was made of like normal fabric and not like super cool fabric or whatever they used in My Hero. I love homemade suits as it shows what the character wants to be as a hero with the limit of what they have on them and around them and what they can do to make a suit. I would technically classify Iron Man's Mark 1 as a homemade suit, but in all honesty, it feels weird calling it a homemade suit because he didn't really make it at home and it wasn't really of his volition. But because of how casual the costumes are, it also makes it easier for fans to cosplay them, as usually the items for the suits can be found pretty easily on eBay, probably not eBay, go for Amazon. You could find them anyway. You could even just look in your closet and you might still already have everything in there for a custom cosplay. You could literally buy a red jumper, make a spider stencil, and grab some black spray paint, and bam, you have a Raimi-style homemade suit. You also should probably get a red ski mask. I would like to know your favorite homemade suits in the comment section down below, as I don't honestly know too many of them. I know that a lot of heroes do them. I think the Batman did it, but with the Batman, his homemade suit wasn't intended as his first suit. It was more intended as a emergency suit for his civilian life to be able to use. Although I'm pretty sure that in the comic books, they did have him run out in just normal clothing to fight crime, and he got his ass whooped. And it was horrible for him. Now, unfortunately, there are also characters that can't have homemade suits because their powers can give them a suit. Some of those being like Green Lantern. Green Lantern couldn't really have a homemade suit because his ring makes his suit. So technically, arguably, the first suit that he ever has when his powers are given to him is his homemade suit. And I guess there's probably like no homemade suits in Kamen Rider. Actually, you know what? This is a challenge for any of you Kamen Rider fans who always watch my videos. Look for a Kamen Rider series that has a homemade suit in it and tell me it. Because I'm actually intrigued about if there's anything that it hasn't done at this point, because every time I make a video, it somehow always correlates to it. Also, if you notice, this video is kind of short in comparison to most. As I said in last week's video, I'm going to be doing some live stuff. I might actually be doing that live stuff now as you're watching this video, but it's not like bad live stuff. I just have to have some free time for the next few weeks. So expect the next video to still be short, kind of like a more off the cuff one like this one. But then after that one, we'll get back to the regular schedule. I think someone's putting their bin out right now. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. And while you're down there, you may as well like the video, as it helps push it in the algorithm for others to see. And as always, not sponsored. Big thanks to my members, Tina Buttercup, Crystal Kensbit, Jasmine Wilson, Wilburfly, and Nugsy1. And if there's any more that have popped up throughout the week that I haven't seen, thank you too. This was a pre-made video, so I can't really cover it. But I'll see you all next week.